I'm going to have a link to a video where I explain why sovereign states, including the United States as a sovereign entity, state, nation, country, whatever bullshit definition you want to bring up, the reasons the United States is a country, not a corporation. It doesn't matter if you like that. I don't fucking care. We're an experiment. So the definitions most people cite don't apply because the United States caused a change in definitions. And in, if anybody's curious, in the year 1648, I'm referring to the previous one, sovereignty was defined for countries because at that point they realized, in the midst of a bunch of wars, that they were ignoring each other's definitions and got together and decided, what do all of us agree is definition for us being countries? This is a long time before 1776, but 1648 induced 1776 and caused this country to do multiple layers that caused us to be declared a country. The word I'm using is vague on purpose. By everybody. Might makes right went away in 1648, and it became diplomatic. So now we're going to talk about the second layer of bottom of the night, bases down, of quantum grammar Nazis and boat captain sovereign citizens, slobbering citizens. Oh, Sovsets, or Soviet citizens. There's a reason I make that joke every once in a while. You guys might want to look that up. What happens if a country actually goes bankrupt? The answer is a short one. It can't. You can because you can't print money or just fucking refuse to pay and get away with it because you're literally a fucking country. One of the definitions for sovereignty, and it's an informal one, but it really does make difference, is because of the agreement in the 1600s. You do not have the actual right to enter a country except as an act of war and be internationally understood that way. No other way. You can't say you're collecting on a debt or that they owe you a hunk of dirt or that I'm going to cite a line on a map saying this part of the China Sea belongs to us because we can say so. You actually have to follow some fucking rules. And this is something that flies in the face of alt-righty-thens all over the planet, no matter even if they know that they're alt-right. They don't like the idea that they cannot inflict their idea of freedom on everybody else by making other people do what they want. When people scream freedom on the internet, especially in comment sections under my videos a lot of the time, what they're screaming is, I want the right to screw with you and get away with it. And since that benefits nobody, this limp-wristed attitude of, I'm not going to invade your country because you can invade mine, happened. Mutually assured destruction, 1600 style, was that they were literally causing the end of all of their countries. There was an 80-year and a 30-year war, mostly based on religion. So the international agreement on what a country is happened because they had to come up with one that would work because times are changing. You can't just run along with pikes and kill people. You can't win by might equals right. You do not have defined. You can't scream, my God says that I have the right to invade your country, and the other person say the same thing and be thought of as sane. And honestly, it was killing off 8 million people, which was a pretty significant number at the time. So the definition changed and they all went home because they could declare their home. Strong fences make better neighbors. What happens if a country goes bankrupt? It can't. Sovereign states recognize and print their own money as a means of payment outside of the country to other countries. They agree on it. It's always paper money. Well, it's backed by gold. No, no. You can't. There was a financial crisis in Spain that brought this out. 1500 Spain defaulted 4 times. Became not bankrupt, but defaulted. The definition is, and the wording is, a sovereign default. A country going in default. It's never bankrupt because it can just say, we're not going to pay it back. What are you going to do? Invade us? Because even if you have no money, you can still make weapons and you can defend your land. Its legal status, called bankruptcy, is only defined within and between countries for individuals and an entity called a corporation. This is a cooperation. That's what corporation means. A corporate. A co-op. It's subservient to the state because of one thing. Money is printed. It's paper. And when it was gold, I don't know if you understand this, there's a reason gold has no value. No, it does not have any value. Because it's rare. It has a couple of good purposes, and if it was as common occurring as iron, you'd use it to plate things. This thing would be colored gold. We would use it for flashlight linings instead of aluminum or silver. In 1500 Spain, because they got so much gold from the New World and silver, this caused a problem. Gold dropped in value. Now what the fuck you gonna do? We got a lot of gold. But because you have a lot of gold, it dropped the value in your country, and every other country wanted more gold for your payment because they saw you inflating the value of everything so that a potato was worth more gold than it was before. You can eat a potato, can't eat the gold. They had their country go into a depression, a bankruptcy, as close to a bankruptcy as possible, because they were on a gold standard and acquired a lot of gold. Now, the understanding people have that they scream is in the 1930s in the United States, we went off the gold standard because we were bankrupt, or it caused the bankruptcy. Some of you know why we went off the gold standard, because it was causing us to go into default, because our country was going under, because being on a gold standard makes it to where you cannot fix things when they go completely screwy. Money, which is literally an agreed upon token, so that I don't have to carry 500 pounds of potatoes. I can carry 500 pounds of potatoes worth of paper that says I have that ownership, and I can exchange it. We just call it money. We don't say it's potato value. How many potatoes are you worth? No, literally, the potato value. It's the potato test. Governments take loans from other countries or banks, non-governmental organizations, whatever. They have to service this debt based on them paying it back. They can do it through tax revenues, or the country can produce enough gross national product to create a trade imbalance to cause them to gain something to give back. But basically, it's paper money. It's always fiat, or fix it again, Tony, money. I can't pronounce fiat. If the country can't produce enough to cover its own expenses in one way or another, not paying the principal or the interest or both, or government bonds can't be paid back by the people, or whatever, the country fails to pay its creditors on time, or it just doesn't want to. It decides we're not going to pay because it can get away with that. It's declared to be in sovereign debt, sovereign default. Its sovereign obligations are gone. Its agreement to pay the money back. This is an agreement between countries. Is dead. It's said to go into a sovereign default. When a government suspends being able to, or suspends for whatever reason, debt payment. That's all it is. Okay, I can't pay my debt for a house, but I'm squatting it. And someone decides, you know what, you're not worth the effort because you've got a bunch of fence posts loaded up with gunpowder and rocks. We'll let you have it. Yeah, that can happen. A government can be in debt to another country and a bunch of other things, and they can say, well, you've been paying on interest to this debt from a war 5 years ago. This is a good example. You've actually paid almost all of it off. So what we're going to do is we're just going to, no interest. Just pay off the rest of it you owe us over the next 10 years. Okay. Because if you haven't noticed this, the reason you can't pay a debt is because it takes a specific time. Your 20-year mortgage gets re-evaluated to a 100-year mortgage. You're paying for it for the rest of your life, but you will pay it off because I'm a banker and I don't want to die in poverty and the loan business is going to shit. I'll let you pay me for 100 years and drop your cost per year. That way you'll easily pay it and I can live off of that. That's the best way to do it. I'm getting paid the same amount over a lifespan because I'm only going to get paid from you once. If I lower your interest rates and just have you pay it over a very long period of time, I'm better off. That's a renegotiation that gets rid of a crisis. What's another method? Countries can decide to inflate their money or deflate their money. Whatever will work to make it to where they can either make it to where the country makes a bunch of money because it has more capital to work with artificially. They can print money. That's why it's not bankruptcy. You're not allowed to do any of those. I'm just going to declare the dollar I have in my pocket more valuable. See, also slobbering citizens. So here we go with the next. 1500 Spain, because of the gold standard, went into bankruptcy. Repeat myself. Next, 1600s. An agreement between countries to stop a bunch of religious wars for 80 and 30 years, depending on how you look at it. Defined what a country was. 1776, the United States Great Experiment, where individual colonies declared themselves non-dependent colonies, declared themselves states, declared themselves to be a collection or company of states, declaring themselves the United States and making a set of rules. 1876, Egypt, British invasion because of a revolt. Screw-ups in Argentina and Greece recently as examples. But they're still there. Egypt still exists, Greece still exists, Argentina still exists, and eventually these all became independent countries, in case you didn't notice. They still were, but for a period of time they were indebted. And the collection method was to invade. It's far harder to creditors to repossess assets from a foreign sovereign entity than to possess it from a human. That's the definition. You're sovereign because it's harder to collect debt from you. Right? Countries and creditor alliances have threatened war, invading the result of defaults, the banksters. Or a bank funds a war to collect something. A country's history of fiscal responsibility, past defaults, current compliance with debt repayment plans, major contributors to preventing any action against the country. That and the fact that, again, 1600s laws made this not able to happen. Invading a country to collect on debt by grabbing everybody's car. I don't owe for the national debt. Neither do you. Because it's money, not worth. Deflate the currency. Cost price per level of goods changes or inflate it. Make it easier to pay off the debts with, again, the money you print. By printing or burning money. Literally burning it in some cases. See also what happened with the inflation of prices before Nazi Germany. 1944 Bretton Woods institutions and the IMF, those evil bastards. The IMF, International Monetary Fund, was originally an agreement to keep exchange rates between countries' currencies to follow some order to prevent chaos, like what happened with the gold standard screw-up in Spain before. Acting as a lender of last resort specifically to protect against such problems such as defaulting on debt by refinancing and, in some cases, eliminating debt, or acting as a negotiator, a neutral one, saying, look, Muggsy, don't bust his legs. He can pay you off over a 50-year period of time. Cannot override the sovereignty of any country, explicitly, or implicitly, or secretly. They don't have that authority. This is demonstrated by every other country that said fuck you to the IMF and the Bretton Woods institutions and the Bretton Woods philosophy of things that I'm not going to go into. Helping restructuring under which creditors agree to write off a share of what they are owed in order to get paid back for the majority of it, which is what happens with you and I. That's the only similarity, is that when we, the people, go into bankruptcy individually, it's usually what happens to us. An American state is not the same thing as a sovereign state. The country in the United States is a sovereign state. The 13 colonies made an agreement to share sovereignty, so they don't have it. Not liking what happened in history that's been reaffirmed since then, coming up with some if and or but in court so you can try to get out of paying a parking ticket because you want rights that everybody else doesn't get, because you want to be able to push people around, because you want to be able to show up on someone's lawn and scream at them, I own your house because I wrote a letter to the governor. For the same reason you're not allowed to cross a fence onto someone's property and declare it yours just because, or because you can shoot the owner. Decisions were made in the 1648 that made it to where even countries couldn't do that anymore without facing a basic repercussion. We have a mutually assured destruction rule. I treat you with respect, you treat me with respect. When you violate that agreement, I don't have to follow it either. Don't bitch when you get fired back upon when you fire the first shot. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that. Hopefully these 2 videos I'm posting today will make this clear. Bye. And no, the U.S. government did not go out of business or whatever. We avoided it by getting rid of the gold standard. Good day.